Well, here we are, early 2008, and we have 3 brand new albums on CD from Buster. Well, not quite brand new. They are the first 2 studio albums and the live album. First time on CD, however, and they're coming out in Japan. I'm joined by Pete Leay and Rob Fennah of Buster. Great to see you today, guys.
Good to be here.
Hello, John.
Now, we have the first album, the second album, and the live album coming out on CD, as we've already said, but let's go back in time a little bit and retrace your steps. Pete, first of all, before Buster, the band had been going as a 3-piece before Rob joined. They were called The New Attraction. Tell us a little bit about
you're going back
time.
a bit there, John. You're going back a bit there. My goodness.
Come on, Pete.
You know.
Well, there was you, Les and Kevin, and you were basically, at the time, we're talking 15, 16-year-olds, weren't you? I mean, you were still at school.
Well, actually, we were a bit younger than that, because I met Kev at school, so we probably talking about 13.
Yeah.
We got 13. Me and Kevin were in the guitar club at school. Yeah, going back a bit. And we needed a drummer, and we met up with Les, who was then in the Sea Cadets, and all he had was a snare drum at the time, which was quite amusing. And we just got into T-Rex and Slade and stuff, me and Kev playing, and we got Les together, and we thought, right, let's have a go, let's get a band together.
Do you remember your first gig? I believe it was the Crosville Social Club, wasn't it?
Yeah, the proper one, yeah. That's right.
A bloke called Dennis who was he was a really old fella. He was in his mid-20s, and he sang with the band. I think you started off backing him, didn't you?
That's right, yeah. Oh, Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little guy that used to work on the buses, loved his music and stuff, and he wanted to manage us. You know.
I mean, you played quite a few gigs, and at the time, I mean, it was a bit of a novelty seeing these, I suppose, 3 kids of about 14, 15 playing pop music, essentially. And whose idea was it to bring in another guitarist?
Mine.
Yeah.
It was actually mine because, so me and Kevin would just play like little rhythm things on guitars, and I wanted to be a lead guitarist. So then we started putting the feelers out for rhythm guitar, and hence we ended up with Rob.
Well, it's a coincidence really, because John, who was doing the interview, at the time I was in a little band and wasn't doing any gigs. Certainly wasn't any, as far as you 3 were, with John and my brother Alan, who I work with up now. But Alan was only about 12, and John was the same age as me. John's interest was more in broadcasting, as you would probably gather.
Yeah.
Alan was at school, and I was sort of pretty frustrated being able to play the guitar, but not being able to play in a band, because a lot of my friends were more interested in football and stuff. And John and I used to go to a local community centre in Greasby and help the bands that used to rehearse there with their equipment, and if we were lucky, they'd give us a go on the Fender acoustic guitar or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And one of the guys in there noticed I could play and recommended me to, I think it was your dad that he worked with.
That's right.
And that's how you got my number, and then you rang our house, and all I remember is you were coming around to audition me, and I just saw this, because I lived in a reasonable area of Greasby, you know.
Yes, the posh half, Rob.
Well, and I just remember seeing this van driving down the road with these 3 fellas looking out the window, and I'm thinking, I hope that's not them. No, I wasn't. No, but that was they came to the house, and Pete and the lads auditioned me. Now, I couldn't play lead guitar to save my life, you know, and I was amazed at how well Pete could play, you know. But I think that's what you were looking for. Pete was looking for somebody to play rhythm guitar.
That's right.
So he could show off on the lead guitar, and that's what happened, and that's how I ended up joining.
That's right, because I think like when me and Kevin and Les were playing, and I was playing chords and things, as we know now, when you go for like a lead guitar break, the sound was empty. It was just the bass and the drum, and I wanted a bigger sound as well, you know. And as Rob's just said there, I remember I was impressed because you played Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree. And I thought, he's good, because there's actually quite a lot of chords.
There was a major seventh in
Yeah,
there.
that's
I think I knew a few more chords.
I remember looking at Kevin going,
And I could finger pick a little bit as well, which helped. Because
he's good at that now. He's very good at the finger picking.
But at the time we did a bit of that because it was complementary. Because I couldn't play lead guitar, but I was better on the instrument. The bits I could play well. You know, I would think like the finger style stuff added to the group. So it was, it added a little bit more. And at the time, Pete's mum and dad managed us, and I think they were fantastic. Without them, we wouldn't have done anything, to be honest.
Well, I can remember you joined in May 1974, and literally about 3 months after that, you went into the recording studio, which was, I was impressed for a start. And I suppose most people of that age, you think recording studio, you think the Beatles, T-Rex, you think all these big artists, but you made an EP, but I suppose it must have been quite exciting.
Well, what it was, we were playing the clubs in those days, it wasn't like today where you go on telly and you mime to a record and you get in the chart. It wasn't like that. In those days, if you couldn't play, then you just couldn't go on a stage, and if you did, particularly in the sort of working men's clubs that we broke our ground in, if you couldn't play, you'd either get paid off or you'd get thrown off. So you had to be good to it, because these people have been working all week and they wanted entertaining on a Friday, Saturday night, and if you weren't any good, then that was the end of it. So the agent, I think, at the time, who was based in North Wales, it was Ray Barnes, I think, with International Associates.
That's right. Yeah.
He financed an EP, which the idea had been that when we'd done the gig, we could sell it after the gig, and it featured 4 songs which we played in our repertoire. One of which was Pete's composition.
My first composition.
It was good. I used to like playing that one. It was great.
My Life's Not For You.
Yeah. And that was the first inroad to writing stuff, But that was great. I enjoyed all that. Although for me, we were all still at school, and you come home from school, get your gear out of the cupboard, iron it and wash it. Because my parents, if they were working, you'd end up washing it, and then go into a gig, getting in at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up for school again the next day. So it didn't go down so well with the school. But by that point, me personally, I'd already made a decision what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, as I think we all did, didn't we?
Yeah,
we all
knew. We just had one aim, which was to try and be successful.